Now let me show you how to move this cursor as well. So you can either click on your mouse and drag it. You can either click here and drag it, but also a very useful tool that I use is the shortcuts again. So if you want to move the timeline cursor with the shortcuts, you want to use the arrows on your keyboard. You want to use the right arrow, left arrow to move it on the right side or move it on the left side. You can also use the up arrow and down arrow, but for that you need to have keyframes set. And we're going to learn about keyframes later, so don't worry about that. So now we learned about how to move this, so we can zoom in and out, move it side by side, home, set the end frame, set the start frame, set the current keyframe, which is this cursor. So now I think you're ready to jump into your first animation. If you haven't done animation before, then you can follow along and make your first animation. Now, what we want to do is take this cube and then move it from here to here on the x-axis, right? Now, if I want my cube to start from here and then move from here in 3 seconds, first of all, I need to set my start frame to 0 and end frame at 90, which is what we have right now. Then I'm going to go to frame 0. And now what we want to do is set a keyframe. The keyframe is a marker which tells Blender where the object is at what point, or which position the object is at what point. Now, right now, I need to tell Blender that the cube is right here. It's staying right here. So what we want to do is hover over the viewport, press on K, and now I get this menu. K is for keyframe. If you're using all the Blender versions, you might want to press on I, which gives us a keyframe, this yellow thing. And I'm going to explain more about that later. Now, what we want to do is press on K, and then I get a bunch of options over here. Now, if you press on location, you tell Blender that you set a location keyframe. So the same goes for rotation, scale. We also have available, which is more advanced, and we don't really need to know about that right now. We also have the bunch of combinations. You have location rotation scale, and all the other stuff. But don't worry about all the other stuff. What we want to do right now is set a location keyframe. So again, press on K, now press on location. And then we told Blender that on frame 0, the cube stays here. Now, if you want to go a bit more advanced, I'm going to press on N to bring out the side panel. All you want to do is press on iTeam, and iTeam gives us a lot of transform options, which we have location, rotation, and scale. Now, right now, the world origin, where these lines intersect, where the X and Y line intersect, this is the 0 location. It's like a spawn point in the game, right? This location right here is 0. So that's why you have a location of 0, rotation of 0, and a scale of 1, because we have a scale of 1 with the cube, and that doesn't really matter. Now, if I change the scale, as you can see, the scale changes over here. So I press on S, scale it up or scale it down, the scale changes here. Now, watch what happens here when I move the cube somewhere. Now, if I press on G and then lock it only on X-axis, you can see only X-axis changes right here. So now let me explain what the different colors mean. So as you can see, rotation and scale and the dimensions are gray, which means they don't have any keyframes. Now, if this thing is yellow, it means I just set a keyframe on an object, and it already has a keyframe set. Now, if I take this and move it, you can see it turns orange instead of yellow. So if I take this and move it around, it turns orange, which means that this location has been keyframed, but it's not been confirmed yet. So I didn't confirm another keyframe. So now what we want to do is move the cube on the X-axis, and there are two ways of doing it. I can either press on G, X, and then move the cube for like 4 meters, for example, over here. Or I can press on Control Z, and then use the slider to control where the cube moves. So I can either move it on the left or the right, move it up and down, sideways, and so on. So what I want to do right now is make sure we have a keyframe. And then if I want my cube to move for 4 meters in 3 seconds, first what we want to do is go to frame 90. So go towards your last frame. And now you notice these values turn green instead of yellow, which means that they have been keyframed before on frame 0, but I didn't confirm the keyframe yet, which is why they're green. So they're pretty much waiting to be confirmed. Now, if I press on X and then type 4 here and then press on Enter to confirm, my cube moved over here. But pay attention to this because we don't have a keyframe set over here on frame 90. So if I play my animation, press on spacebar, I don't get any animation. The cube jumped back into place because when we moved to frame 90 and when we set this to 4, we did not confirm this yet, which is why it's orange. And once we confirm it, it's going to turn yellow. So what we need to do is press on K again and then press on location. So in a nutshell, what we did is we pressed on K, set a location keyframe, moved it on 4 meters here, And now you can see when I scrub through the timeline, we get this animation. So if I go up to frame 0 and I press on spacebar to play, we get a cube which moves forward in 4 meters in 3 seconds. So I hope it's not too complicated for you. Now we can do the same thing for the height as well. So we can go to frame 90, press on Z, and then move this up, for example, 2 meters. And then remember, this is orange, so it's waiting to be confirmed. So I can either press on K and then location again, or hover over this and then press on I, because I is a shortcut for keyframe as well. So now, when you scrub through the timeline, we got our first animation. The cube moves forward and up. So to explain this better, we told Blender that on frame 0, the cube's location was 0 everywhere. But when we moved to frame 90, we pressed another keyframe, we set another keyframe, and we told Blender that cube's location is now 2 on the Z-axis, so up, and then 4 on the X-axis, so right. So we told Blender that the cube is going to go from 0 meters to 2 and 4 meters respectively on X and Z locations. So now I can do the same thing with the rotation. I can go to frame 0, press on K, and then set the rotation keyframe. And now watch what happens on the right side. We get a keyframe, we got a yellow keyframe, which means the cube is keyframed. Now instead of going to frame 90, I'm going to go to frame 60, for example, press on RR, and then rotate it somewhere over here. And then press on K, and then confirm a rotation, or again hover over this and then press on I to confirm and make it yellow. Now if I go back, you can see the cube has 0 rotation here, but when we progress through the animation, it's going to start rotating. Now we can do the same thing with the scale. Again, go here, so press on K, it's going to bring out the menu and now choose scale. Go to something like frame 40, for example, and then press on S and then scale this down. And then again, press on K, set the scale keyframe. Now we can see the cube goes smaller, rotates, and then goes forward and up. Now, if I want to go more advanced, I can actually go to frame 60. And on frame 60, I only have a rotation keyframe. But I can actually press on S, scale the cube up, and then press on K, and then set another scale keyframe. Now the cube is going to shrink down here, and then shrink up here. So now watch what happens. Cube goes forward, scales down, scales up, and then moves forward again. That's a great way to start your 3D animation journey, set different keyframes, play around with different keyframes. Now, this is a very slow way of creating animations. When you're working with characters, when you want to create a lot of poses, a lot of actions fast, you don't want to press on K, location, K, scale, K, keyframe, and so on, because that's a very, very slow way of doing things.